going? Austin Reed here. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Alright, today we're actually going to do our first video request by a guy named Malik Jermaine. Now, Malik Jermaine actually got his eBay account suspended, okay? And so we're going to talk all about reasons why your account might get suspended, alright, and ways to get your account unsuspended. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Alright, so here are the reasons why accounts might get suspended, okay? The first reason why accounts might get suspended is poor seller performance. And what that means is either not shipping items out on time, getting a lot of complaints, maybe your items aren't really high quality, alright, getting a lot of disputes for whatever reason, you know, and not resolving issues with your customers. That is a reason why your account can get suspended. Alright, another reason why your account could get suspended is simply just not paying your eBay fees. You know, eBay likes to get paid. If you don't pay them, they're going to suspend your account. It's pretty simple. Another reason why your account might get suspended is posting high-risk items. Okay, so if you're a relatively new account, or you know, if you post a lot of really high-risk items, for example, drones are high-risk items, and phones. Drones and phones, kind of expensive electronics, are really high-risk items, okay? If you post a lot of these in a very short amount of time, or you're a pretty new account, you just open an eBay account, you're like, I'm gonna sell an iPhone, and then your account gets suspended, it's because those are high-risk items. eBay looks at that like, oh, you know, like, this account could really make some problems for us, so I'm not sure we want them selling on eBay, right? Okay, another reason why your account might get suspended is for posting dangerous or Vero-related items. So for example, like drug paraphernalia, anything medical, anything to do with needles or prescriptions or anything like that. You know, anything brand-related, anything Disney, pretty much all of Disney is Vero. So you can't post any Disney items without, you know, getting a Vero notification. And that could be really bad for your account as well. You know, another reason why your account might get suspended is because your PayPal is not verified. Alright, so if you have a PayPal account that doesn't have a card and a bank hooked up, and they can't verify who you are, they will actually suspend you on eBay for not having a verified PayPal account. Another reason for suspending an eBay account is actually opening too many eBay accounts in a short amount of time. Now, eBay tells you that you can open as many eBay accounts as you want, which is true. It's completely true. But sometimes they don't like it. And let me explain. So basically, if you have one really good account and then you start opening accounts and you use the same name, the same address, and same PayPal, you'll probably be okay because your account is really, really high rated, right? But if you have like a not so good account and you open a bunch of eBay accounts, they're gonna be like, oh, I feel like this guy is trying to commit fraud. Also, it has to do with the speed you open the new eBay accounts. So, like I said, it's okay to have multiple eBay accounts, but if you, for example, open one on Friday, one on Monday, one on Wednesday, they're not gonna like that either. Alright, so try to only open one account a month or one every 2 months. You know, stagger it. That way, you know, they're not looking at you like, oh my God, you know, he's opening a bunch of new eBay accounts. Because they honestly, sometimes they don't like that, you know? And the thing about opening a bunch of eBay accounts is, for example, say you have 5 or 6 eBay accounts, alright? If all of them are linked, most likely. All of them are most likely linked. I'll teach you how to make eBay accounts unlinked. Stealth eBay accounts is what they're called in another video. But basically, your eBay accounts are probably linked. They're probably linked by IP address, by your PayPal, by your name, your phone number, something. Something's linking those accounts, all right? So what happens is, say for example, you post a high-risk item on a new eBay account that you just made. That's like, I don't know, 10 reviews or less. You post like a drone or something, all right? Then all of a sudden, every single one of your eBay accounts gets banned. All right, and the reason why is because, first of all, you post a high-risk item on a pretty low, you know, standing eBay account. first. Second reason why is because they're all linked. So if one of them gets flagged, all of them get flagged. eBay will completely suspend you and completely suspend everybody that's using your internet connection from selling on eBay. Alright, so those are basically the reasons why accounts might get suspended. Alright, so now let's talk a little bit about how we can unsuspend eBay accounts. And you basically have two options, and you're probably not going to like either of them, but you kind of have to fight to get your eBay account back. I mean, it's doable. It's doable, but you might be fighting for about a month. I'm not even joking. Like, sometimes it takes a good amount of time. Alright? It really helps if you know why your account is suspended. Okay, there's the MC011 where they ask you for your proof of identity, proof of residency. Sometimes they ask you for a business license and invoices. Okay, as far as that goes, just submit your identity, submit your invoice. An invoice could be a screenshot of you buying the product, no joke. You can print invoices from Amazon. It could also be like a picture of the receipt. That counts as an invoice. Proof of residency, they say it can only be bank statements and, bills and stuff. It's not true. They actually accept pretty much anything as proof of residency. So you can just send a spam credit card mail. Just sign up to some mailing list, send yourself some mail, and boom, that's proof of residency. Pretty simple. Alright. As far as the rest goes, just submit the proper documents. You should be okay. Now, a lot of times people get suspended and they don't know why. They just say, we reviewed your account and we've determined that your account is suspended because it's risky for eBay to have you on eBay, right? And you're like, what the fuck? Why is my account suspended? So basically, what you do in this situation is you kind of got to think, okay, well, all right, what was the reason why I got suspended? All right, so like I said earlier in this video, figure out why you got suspended. So if it's because you have multiple eBay accounts, for example, then that gives you a clue on kind of how you want to frame, calling eBay. All right, so when you do call eBay, have an idea of why your account got suspended. Now, if it got suspended for poor seller performance, you're not getting your account back. Just don't even try. It's not going to happen. But if you got suspended for like multiple eBay accounts or something else, you can get your account back. And it might be a little difficult, but you can definitely get it back. All right, so basically what you got to do is you got to call eBay. You got to call eBay. And when you talk to them, just talk to a manager. Just go straight to the manager. Be like, hey, I'd like to speak to a manager. And when you call eBay, actually, try to call them like super, super early morning in Denver time. I don't know what time zone that is in. I think it's Central Time. But try to call like between 4 in the morning to 10 o'clock in the morning Denver time, because then you'll get the Australian call center, and they're awesome. They pretty much always solve your problems. They're super cool. But anyways, just go ahead and like talk to a manager right off the bat. And the first thing you're gonna find is that you can't actually talk to the fraud department. eBay doesn't really let you. Alright, and that's like a big problem for most people, but don't get discouraged. Just because you can't talk to the fraud department does not mean you can't get this issue solved. Alright, so basically what you have to have the manager do is you have to first of all explain to him, you have to be like, I have really, really good customers, I have really good rating, I've been selling online for, 2, 4, or 5 years or whatever. I sell on Amazon or whatever too, and I have a business or something, and, I don't feel like this suspension is fair, and this is why. So if you have multiple accounts, you would say something like, I was told that having multiple accounts is okay, so I decided I'm going to have a furniture store, and I'm going to have an electronics store, and it's going to be fine, And so what you do is you have them appeal the suspension, right? So what they're going to do is they're going to write everything you say, they're going to document it, so make sure that you say it well, and they're going to send it to the fraud department of eBay, okay? And then they're going to tell you that they'll get back to you within 48 to 72 hours. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't, all right? And if they don't, you definitely have to call back. Sometimes the fraud department will actually call you. If they do, pick up the phone, because you're not going to be able to call them. You can't get a hold of the fraud department. So if they call you, pick up the phone and talk to them, because if you talk to them, then there's a lot better chance that you're definitely going to get your accounts back. Okay? But anyways, basically, if they don't get back to you, you just call back again. And you keep calling. And you call, honestly, every other day or every day. You call all the time. And you just keep calling. And eventually you're going to get someone on the phone who's going to resolve your problem. And it probably won't happen over the phone. Sometimes it does. Sometimes you actually get someone who has like just a little bit of extra power. But it also depends on why you're suspended. If your suspension is like a really, really big issue, you can't. Like only the fraud department can unsuspend you. But if your suspension's not that big of a problem, then sometimes the person you're talking to on the phone can actually unsuspend your account. So you just have to get a human on the phone, you have to explain to them the issue, and they'll unsuspend your account. Alright? So that's basically the first way to get your account unsuspended. Alright? Now the second way to get your account unsuspended is this. Find someone who works in the fraud department of eBay and pay them to unsuspend your account. Now that's not the most ethical way of doing things. eBay doesn't really like that, honestly. I think that's against the law. I think it's corporate espionage, actually. I'm not sure about that. So, but I know that the eBay employee could get fired for that. I know that for a fact. But some people actually do it. I do know some people that have done that. I know people that do that. You know, I'm not going to put any names out there or anything. But, you know, it's definitely a viable option. If you don't have any other options, just pay someone in the fraud department to, you know, unsuspend your account. And it's not that hard to find someone. Just jump on Facebook, you know, talk a little bit. Eventually you'll find someone. I promise you that. So, basically, you either have to fight eBay, you have to call them every day, and it's really frustrating. It might take you a month. Or you have to pay somebody in the fraud department to unsuspend your account. I mean, those are basically the only two ways to do it. And yeah, I mean, eBay's kind of a bitch with that. I mean, they really are not really helping people and working with them as far as that goes. But eBay is what it is. You know, they do kind of pay our bills a little bit. We also pay their bills, so it's a love-hate relationship. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. Alright, you guys have a wonderful day.